The purpose of this video is twofold: to review how to test the Biobank website and provide you with testing resources. The purpose of testing is to catch any bugs or errors, and we will focus on testing the Biobank website now before it launches, as well as when it is live. Periodic testing, or what we call spot checks when your study or website is live, is equally important to testing now because software is quickly deployed and it's important to catch any new bugs and nip them in the bud as quickly as possible. So, what is testing? Testing is the process of reviewing a website for functionality. To test the Biobank website, you will need the following resources. First, the Biobank website, which we have open here, because this is what you are testing. Second, you'll need the admin panel. There we go. You'll need the admin panel to track the progress of your test user or participant. Next, you'll need the study flow diagram, because the study flow diagram is your blueprint, what you'll use to verify that you're proceeding through the flow as intended. And you'll also need the mock-ups. The mock-ups are your design guide. And lastly, you'll need this Biobank study testing sheet that we've created for you. The Biobank study testing sheet will show you how to document bugs or issues that you find while testing your website. Okay, before we dive into these resources a little bit deeper, let's go ahead and review how to test. So, first things first, you're going to have your website open, and I want you to review the landing page for content and functionality. So you're going to click on everything, you're going to read everything to make sure you catch any typos. You're also going to review those ancillary pages, so the about, the FAQs, the contact us pages. And again, you'll review those for content as well as functionality as well. Make sure you click on any links that you find to make sure that those work. And once you've gone through and you've tested the home or landing page and all the ancillary pages, then you're going to test the Biobank study flow for functionality. And there are two ways to create a test participant on Biobank. On the Stage website, there is a quick version, which is the Get to the Choppa feature that lets you create a test user very quickly. It's the shortened version. And then there's the long process by clicking on the Join Biobank button and creating your own test user. We'll go through both mechanisms of how to create a test user. Let's first start with the long way. So with the long way, you'll go to Join Biobank, see the pledge page, and create your own test user. Some helpful tips here. What I tend to do when I'm creating my own test user is I use my own name, and then I use test as my last name, and then I numerically add test users. So I'll start with 1, and then add more. So in the next iteration, I would be test user 2, 3, 4. For birth date, you can just fill it out with, a chosen birth date. And then for email, what I typically do is I'll use the first and last name of my test user with that number, that numerical addition. And then I'll either use @example.com, or what I also do is utilize testing.com, and both seem to work really well. So I would use something like that format, so you can quickly create your own test users, then create your own test password, and then you're off to the races. So I'm going to back up a little bit here and show you another way to create a test user. And I'm going to click on the logo, and I'm back at the landing page, and we're back to this Get to the Choppa feature that I want to highlight. This Get to the Choppa feature is a feature that allows the Eureka platform to assign you a test user, so you don't have to go through the process of creating your own. So I'm going to click on Get to the Choppa, and as you can see, I completely bypassed that whole Eureka sign up screen. And now I'm at this screen that says add your cell phone number. And I can add my cell phone number if I would like to. So I'm not going to do that for this demo, but please feel free to add your cell phone number. Click next, and then you'll be prompted to complete the phone verification activity. And what the phone verification activity is the Eureka platform will send you a text to your cell phone number with a verification code, which you'll enter in the next screen. Now, one thing to note about the phone verification activity and adding your phone number is that we cannot have more than one phone number assigned to one participant. So let me rephrase that a little bit. We can't have two participants with the same phone number. So if you go ahead and you do test out this add your cell phone feature and you go through the phone verification process, if you create another user, you can't use the same cell phone. What you would have to do is you'd have to remove the cell phone from the first test user, and then you can use it for the second test user. And so I'm going to go back to the admin panel. Here we are. And if I go to settings, there's a tab here that says release phone numbers. And what you'll do is you'll type in your phone number, and that'll populate the participant who has that phone number, and then you'll just click remove. And that'll remove that phone number from that participant so that you can reuse your phone number for your other test users. Okay. Additionally, if you don't want to test out that feature and you've done it enough times, you feel comfortable with it, you can go ahead and just select I don't have a cell phone number and click next. Totally bypass the phone verification activity and adding your cell phone and jump to the pre-DocuSign page. Okay, so on this pre-DocuSign page, again, go ahead and test out content, test out both buttons. I'm going to continue to consent. I'm going to go through the consent. Make sure you also read through the consent with a very fine-tooth comb, because that is one of the most important features of Biobank. Make sure you click on the links as well. Try out initialing and signing the consent. Make sure all areas that need to be initialed will be initialed. And then once you've completed the consent process, you should see, again, using this flow as your guide, the legalese and medical record questions are right here, which I see, and I can play around with this a little bit as well, looking at more details, reading through the content, making sure you're only able to click on one box and not two. I'm trying out different, let's actually go with no here. Different options, okay. And now we see that end of study screen. Great. You can also, so now we're on the home screen, you can click on the profile screen, click on the settings, you can look at the consents and see what was signed. We don't collect next of kin or emergency contact information, so that won't be populated. You can go ahead and disregard those tabs. You can look through the other tabs. Okay, and all looks well so far. As you're going through and you are creating your test users and you're testing out the functionality of the Biobank website, I want you to wear multiple hats. So I want you to try out or go through the flow as somebody who's interested in participating and connecting their MyChart, somebody who's interested in participating but not connecting their MyChart, as someone who's maybe skeptical about participating, and then also somebody who's not interested in participating at all. And try out all those different pathways and test out everything thoroughly. Okay, so we went through, we created this, we have this test user assigned to us from that Get to the Choppa feature. What I can do now is I can go to the admin panel, and this is my test user, Ruben Senger, and I'm going to go to the admin panel. I'm going to go back to participants. I'm going to refresh, and I should see the test user that was assigned to me. I can also see down here that I created a test user a while ago, and they are here as well. So again, I'm from our admin panel training video, you should remember that by clicking on the participant's name, I get the participant's information. So I can see the participant's contact information, their consents. I can download those, make sure you do, to make sure that those are working properly. I can see their activity. Again, I did not complete anything because I am not a UCSF patient, so it just took me straight to the end of study screen. I can also see messages. This is the message that I received. If I go to messages in the queue, I'm not scheduled to receive any additional messages because I'm not a UCSF patient. But if I were, then I should have some messages queued up here. You can go ahead and again disregard all these tabs. Maybe just jump to DocuSign. I could also see my DocuSign document. And then once the reports feature is working, you'll be able to look at the information that you entered in the reports. So the survey, Legalese Medical Record Question Survey, you can see the responses to those questions in the reports tab. Okay. So that is how to test the Biobank website, how to create a test user, some resources for you. Now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into those resources. So we've reviewed the admin panel and what that's used for. We've reviewed the study flow diagram. Let's take a look at the mockups once again. I just want to highlight here that what you're using the mockups for is to just verify content and general design, that the general design is on point with what's on the website. Okay, so the last item that you're going to use in your resource toolkit is this Biobank study testing sheet. So this Biobank study testing sheet is what you're going to use to document any bugs or issues that you find. So here we have a example for you. So this example says, I was able to enter a negative number in the survey, basic demographics, on the question, how many people do you live with? And that is an error. So what you're going to do is any errors that you find on Biobank, you're going to write those in here in this column A, or the item bug description. And the reason for this is because if you find an error, I need to create a ticket so that our developers can work on fixing that error. So having as much information about the error is extremely important for us to not only identify the error, but replicate it and then proceed to fixing it. Although some of these things might seem obvious, the more information that we have, the better, and the less back and forth there'll be. Okay, so this is the bug that was found, this example bug. In addition to writing out what the bug is, you're also going to write out where it is located in the study flow diagram. For this example, it's in the first e-visit, the first survey. You'll also, in column C, write down what the expectation is. So the expectation for this bug is that there should only be real numbers entered into the answer response. And then you'll write down which Eureka IDs experienced this bug, or where you noticed this bug. And lastly, the last column that you're going to use is this link to a screenshot or video column. And in this column, we want you to add any screenshots, videos of the bug. So again, that we can identify, replicate, and ultimately fix the error. The last column here is column F, which is named Eureka Responses. And in this column, I'm going to go ahead and review all of the issues that you guys document. And I'll take a look and write out tickets for them or do some investigation. There might also be some errors that aren't actually errors, that are more like Eureka-wide processes or ways that we do things. So platform-wide features. And so if those are the case, then I will go ahead and write that as well, just to make sure that we're responding to your the finds that you discover while you're testing. If there is a ticket that is created for one of the items or bugs that you identify, then I will go ahead and create a ticket and post it in the Stage Ticket Updates tab. The Stage Ticket Updates tab is useful for tracking bugs or tickets that we're working on at a high level. So you don't need to click on any of these links. This is just for us. But what's going to be important for you is the status column, so you know exactly where we're at in working on your bug or fixing your bug. So going through this briefly, this column is going to have tickets that are completed. And this section will have tickets that are currently being worked on, and the last section will have tickets that are that haven't been worked on by our developers that we need additional information before we begin working on. Okay, and the last tab here is the Eureka Definitions and Key Terms tab. In this tab, I just went ahead and provided some key terms just because I know that we use a lot of jargon. I think that stage and production might be pretty familiar to you guys at this point. Sprint cycle might be a little bit confusing. What that generally means is it's a set period of time during which issues that are high priority or higher up in the ticket queue will be completed and on stage or on the production environment. So an example, let's say that this issue that was discovered, being able to enter a negative number in a survey. So that's in the demographic survey. That's a pretty important error. So we would create a ticket for that. The developers were to work on it. From the time that the developer is assigned the ticket to the time when you can expect the fix on stage, that'll be about 7 days. And from the time that the developer starts working on the ticket to the time where you can expect the fix on our production environment, that'll be 10 days. And the reason for that that time frame difference is because the Eureka platform operates in a linear fashion. So first the developers work on fixing the issue. They fix the issue internally. They push that code onto the stage environment. It goes through rounds of testing by our QA team. Then once that is approved, then it goes through the production environment. It goes through a couple rounds of testing, and then it's live. So that whole process takes about 10 days to go from ticket to fixed on production, and 7 days to go from ticket in the queue to fix on stage or a testing environment. It's about 7 days. I will also just note that that sprint cycle is for tickets that are more high priority items. So something like a very small typo in the FAQ section isn't going to be something that's a high priority ticket. So it might take a little bit longer to get to those. That is just because we are prioritizing our tickets. We can't get through everything all at once. And we do appreciate your patience with that as well. Okay, some other key terms that we have here are spot checks, which we've reviewed at length in this video, and bugs. Let me know if you guys have any additional questions. I think that's all I have for now. And best of luck with testing.